Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Welcome back to Textual Chatter. I don't really consider this the Textual Talk episode. You know what I've been doing the last couple of Sundays. If Cybershortieee is not here, I've just been reacting to content we see on TikTok, and it's been a lot of crazy stuff. We got Emma, I think it's Emma, I don't know if it's Grede or Grede. I wasn't too familiar with her before this week with all the discourse around her name, but we have her. She gave her opinions on remote work, so we're definitely going to talk about that. Frisco, Texas, they got this H1b crisis, and like people are literally going to investigating these IT companies to actually see if people work there or not because they're like over it. They think it's fraud and they don't want people taking their city. If you can kind of read in between the lines. Then we got some other fun stuff about managers or interviewers kind of trying to intimidate applicants. Why, when you try to move internally, that the salary you see posted does not apply to you, and much, much more. But if you could do me a favor, when you come into the chat, please hit the like button. Share it out. If I have enough time, maybe I'll even drop the link and let some people come up here with me. We can just chop it up. It just depends on how much time I got and how everything flows. Now, without further ado, let me kind of bring in the first video that everybody probably want to see when they come in, and I'm gonna try to give my takes on it. And since it comes from like another show that possibly is on YouTube or everything, I'm going to probably break it up in between times when she's talking, just so it doesn't get hit for like copyright because they're good on that. So I'm not gonna let like the whole thing play like for like 60 seconds or something like that, just so I can make sure. But let's get it.
From home culture is a career killer for women. And let me explain to you why. Remembering that I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women that work for me. Now, what is happening is that we talk about all of this sort of upside of Zoom culture, but none of the rigidity of it. And no one will really tell you. But careers require proximity and visibility. You want a pay rise? You want the next promotion? You want the big corner office? Guess what? You need to be there. You might not want to hear it because it might be comfortable in your living room, but the facts are the facts. And
So I actually do agree with her, but my take is slightly nuanced. It depends on the company. Like, is it a company that's primarily remote? Then that advice necessarily doesn't work as far as going into an office if they don't really have a main location or if there's no hubs in your area. But in order to be promoted, you do need to be visible, whether you're remote, hybrid, or on site, being visible. And remotely, I think that hasn't been talked about enough because it's kind of different. And how are you being visible? So for me, when let's see, I'll go back to when I was working at Optus. The way that I was being visible was on our weekly calls or our handoffs, any call that we had to do with the client. I was making sure I was speaking up. I was trying to go do anything that were processed or anything that needed to be fixed or something like that. I was showing my face, and all that actually led to me going to fly to the client in California because they wanted to meet me personally. This also led to me getting um, bigger than normal merit increases and also internal promotions just based on my work ethic and, like I said, good work. So I do agree with the visibility part. Now, in traditional senses of people going into the office, definitely being in proximity and talking to everybody is going to be like a major key there. And knowing who's who, like having somebody to, I guess the word sponsor, like the certain people, if they know who you are, they can bring your names up in certain rooms. And that's how you can move around. So it's actually easier to probably get promoted at a company that's more hybrid or on-site based versus a remote one. So she actually has a good point here.
not here to sugarcoat information or to load
So
women
you
up with
almost feel
toxic
like it's a way to
positivity.
also, I don't want to say push us out, but it's almost slowly a way to be like, you're not needed or you don't really, it's not there's no urgency because you're away.
It's eroding the potential for women to be successful.
Interesting.
Period. End off. Your boss won't tell you that because they're not allowed to tell you. The way we have built human resource culture in this country and the rest of the Western world is that no one can have that conversation with you. But the truth is the truth. It just is. If you're not there, if you're not in the room, there is going to be somebody else that is. And guess what? Like, they will get that opportunity over you. This is not about like whether or not these things are true or properly understood, or whether they're right, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because I know that for some people, they're like, but wait a minute, I need this flexibility. The way that we all come into work now is that, and listen, I run organizations.
So I don't know what the metrics are for women. And matter of fact, while she's talking, let me see if I can find any answers on that. Let's see. Has remote work hindered women from getting promoted? I'm looking it up right now. Let's see what we got. Okay, so Forbes got a couple of articles, like AI sourced some stuff. And it said remote work has hindered promotion for many women, largely due to proximity bias, where managers favor in-office employees for advancement while providing flexibility. Remote work often reduces access to mentorship and high visibility projects, causing women to be passed over for promotions more frequently than in-office peers. So I'm not going to minimize the women part because I'm not a woman, but I would also like to interject. I think it's just in general for anybody that may be working remote, where they're remote, but everybody else is in office. But yeah, so it says key impacts are like remote workers are 31% less likely to get promoted than in-office peers, with women particularly affected due to less mentorship. Women often utilize remote options for caregiving, but face reduced career advancement opportunities as a result. And the gender gap. Studies show that among remote workers, women are promoted less often than men, with some data showing that 37% of women working remotely were promoted compared to 49% of men with similar arrangements. Now that's interesting. I don't know exactly how to fight that, but maybe I will get a chance to do a deep dive on some of that information. But coming back here too, we have to also throw this out here. Do we believe everybody wants to be promoted? I know a lot of people who work remotely, they like the flexibility and they're just happy they got a steady check and it allows them to do what they have to do for their family or whatever. So I think that's also a place too. But I do think if it's for a career-driven woman, then they definitely need to be very strategic on, if they're working remote, how do they promote? Or like sometimes you may have to go to a different organization because of the lack of promotions that you may get. And you could be a top performer. You possibly can be on the cusp of getting exceed expectations on your review. But let's let her finish up her points.
That are very flexible. Nobody misses things that they need to do, a dentist appointment, an appointment with their kids, because they have to be in work from this hour to this hour. There's a level of flexibility that's assumed in the workplace right now. But I think it's a little bit like this idea that we've built for ourselves that you can listen your way to success. Like, if I just stack all these podcasts, like, I'm going to get really successful. No, ambition has to find you working, and work is just work.
I agree. Now I don't listen to, I guess that's a new podcast that Kiki Palmer has. So I don't really listen to like a ton of things she has. I know I saw it was like an uproar for like a lot of different Black women were getting upset with what she said. If y'all want to send me the link or something to that, maybe we can play it. But for the most part, I don't too much really disagree with what she said. So yeah, I definitely think she was on the money. Let's see what some of the chat say. Told you about Frisco 2 weeks ago in the takeover. Yeah, I've been in a loop with that. Like, they have been going crazy about this on TikTok for the last couple of months now. Rhino Energy, shout out to you. My dog Bryson. I think hybrid is the way, to be honest. 3 days max. I think, yeah, flexible hybrid. Like, as long as I can come in and then leave like early because of either traffic or I need to make sure I'm just at the house whenever my kids get there or something like that, I definitely for it. It really doesn't matter. But like I said, some people, want to be less remote or whatever. So, and I would just say, like we were talking about last week, it really just depends on the commute. And some people may not see like it's worth it for them to go in the office unless they have some type of trajectory that they can see that their career's on. Like I said, when you come into the channel, please hit the like button. It's the easiest way that you can support the show. Easiest way, especially when I'm doing this thing dolo. Let me see what he said. If you're valuable and your work produces great ROI, it really doesn't matter where you work from. It depends, man. It depends on the company culture. I think that's the one thing that she probably didn't say. It depends on the company culture. You could be doing great work, but nobody knows who you are. And that's why you have to treat your career like it's a business. So you're going to have to market yourself and put yourself out there, volunteer for things. Just like, for example, anybody has like their own service-based business, you'll see that they'll have postcards or they'll have these things like at gyms or in your mailbox and all this other stuff. And that's how you, matter of fact, that's how I found my barber. I was working at the gym and I seen the thing. I was on, I think I was doing like some back rows on a machine. And then I seen the thing. I said, hold on, man, I've been looking for a barber that's right next to me. And that's how I found him. And so we were talking about that a while back. Let's see, who is this? We are damned if you do, damned if you don't. It is hard to get the remote position. It protects us from the office races. Not true at all. Nothing protects you from that, whether it's remote or you on site. Nothing protects you from that. Trust me. A startup I worked at, we had a principal engineer. I never met him. They refused to get rid of him. Yeah, in some instances, there is one person that has all the tribal knowledge and is the main reason why nothing has crumbled. They're going to stay. Hey, shout out to you, man. Shout out to Malik Dixon. He definitely took my Adventure of Cybersecurity career course on LinkedIn and really gave me a great post about it. So shout out to you, bro. And that's another thing. In that course, I actually talk about these very things on how to get promoted, because it's not like a lot of times we talk about getting in. We never say what we do to stay in and have a career 10 plus 15, 20, 30 years, which frankly, right now with everybody, who knows how the next 5 years is going to look. It's kind of interesting to say when it comes to careers. So if you are at one of those companies that does right by their employees, I would suggest to stay there and not make a drastic hop, especially if it's not for like, more money or it's like for some other like serious reason. But let's see, where are we? All right. Now, for the second part that we was talking about, let's go to the Frisco H1b stuff.
Actually happening.
What I think is actually happening is many companies in Texas that are big tech companies, could be AT&T, could be Verizon, could be T-Mobile, are having like, I don't know, deals with these smaller tech companies. One of my questions, that's just an ongoing question, is why do we have so many tech companies in general? Somebody responded to me and was like, well, we need more. And I'm like, I don't think we do, because if you look at how many are just in Frisco, I don't think we need that many.
Yeah.
But they're like working with these big tech companies and having H1B employers come in, one, because we'll pay them less, two, because I guess the Indians like to hire like-minded individuals. They only stick within their realm of
like smelling individuals. Go ahead, keep going.
yeah.
See, hey, I'm not condoning all this other crazy stuff they talk about, because like I said, this is them and they don't like that. They feel like their city's been ransacked. So I'm not agreeing with all the other personal stuff that they're saying on screen. Now, I don't know if it was a podcast or something like that, but I do know, and I think this is everybody. I think most of us, I believe in hiring the best people for the job. So if you are better than the other applicants, no matter how you look, I would rather hire you. That's what I believe in. But in corporate, it don't work like that, unfortunately. I do think I've had some situations where some of those other people have sabotaged me on purpose, so my interview didn't go well, and so they can bring in their own. I had stories of people telling me that's happened to them at companies I worked at before, where they sabotaged the interview. So, and there are little companies where now they are like, these people are getting in, they're working at a much cheaper rate, or they all stay together and they are doing multiple jobs. It's a lot of different stuff that, I ain't gonna lie, we could learn from them, but based on how we are brought up over here, it would never work. Two, it was another video. I don't have that one, but literally everybody that the guy was questioning, like, hey, where are you from? Everybody was from Hyderabad. So, and there was one woman, she was working somewhere. She's like, I feel like I'm at home because everybody that I interact with on a daily is back from home. So that was pretty interesting. But let's let them continue. I hope if it get too crazy, I'll take it off and put something else on.
There are some companies that have already been exposed for only hiring Indians. Imagine if white people did that. Just saying.
Oh man, that's great.
Don't even get me started on.
Hold on real quick. Where are we at?
I beg your pardon.
Cause I don't know why and this is the I don't like that Karen stuff, like what y'all been doing for years, or for the fact that people had to do stuff like affirmative action to get other people in, and it still ain't benefit the other people that need to get in. So definitely, I don't know if they're trying to be sarcastic, but that's definitely what y'all did for years and still do on the low. You just can't prove it. Yo, what's good, bro? Who is this? My last big tech company, there were whole divisions with one race to only hire like-minded people. They wouldn't hire black people. I mean, you see it all the time, bro. You be like, I know I killed the interview. Like, what's going on? And you don't get no feedback. It's just, sorry, we went with somebody else that better qualified. Then in a couple of months, you see that same role open.
Now, imagine if white people would build mosques and compounds. Like, imagine if we just had white-only areas in Texas. That would not fly at all.
Let's go. Yeah, it wouldn't. It would be racist.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
So, and then this is a little bit condescending because it's twofold. Then they say like white-only places. No, it's not white-only. However, when you cross a certain line or get in certain places, you feel like it's whites only. So I don't like that they're trying to say that. They're trying to be funny. Now, what they're talking about is, I think there's a situation where some of the Indians, they want to get like their own community and kind of like they literally can go to school there, church there, and all that different stuff. And the community wasn't having it. So I think that's what they're talking about, but they need to be careful because all this looks like it's like kind of like white tears. I'm not gonna lie. So y'all are pretty much being the stereotypical Texans when they're talking right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Just be all kinds of racist.
But my theory is, one, they're coming over here and getting these jobs, getting paid less from these companies. But when you have like these deals, so AT&T will allegedly, I gotta be so careful when I say this, they're gonna come at me. AT&T will allegedly take out, let's use Qubits Tech Systems LLC as an example. That's the company that's registered to that house in Frisco.
Okay.
AT&T will pay this small LLC X amount of money for 50 H1b visa applicants. And let's say it's like $500,000. I don't know. That may be completely off.
Wow.
The Qubits LLC, whatever, will pay these Indians a percentage of that, whatever the salary. And it says on the website, the salaries are $100,000. First off, what you're working a remote job with $100,000 salary? Are you joking?
That's a dream. Like, I would love $100,000.
Yeah.
Hey man, listen, man. I'm so tired of these people on this thing. I really am.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Because I know y'all ain't crying. Like, now this gets into the other microaggressions about, if we just take it off Indians, anybody who don't look like them that can work remotely and make a good living, and then they want to complain like you're not really doing work and all this other stuff. That's kind of where this comes into. And this is what you get. Now, somebody said that working remote protects you from people like this, and I disagree. This is how some of them feel when you work remote on site. So
I'd like a bunch of taxpayer money too.
Exactly.
yeah, but the funny thing is, that's the same thing that they would say about black people when they assume like, so many black people are manipulating the system and everything else, not even taking into account how nuanced black people as a whole situation has been, especially since civil rights. But those are other conversations that people don't point to. It's only statistics, but not the root of everything of why it kind of fell apart. We have some great comments over here. Let's see. The rabbit got the gun and they don't like it. What conferences or cyber events do you recommend in the DFW area, sir? I know Black Men in Tech will be here this year. I don't know the dates. I don't really do many in the area. Optum normally has one in Frisco at the Star where the Cowboys play. It's called OptiveCon. I don't know if they're gonna do it this year or not. Normally it would have already been done. I need to look into that, but it's pretty cool. They have a lot of vendors there, and you never know, you may find some people hiring. And I gotta do my research, man. I've really been kind of just locked in and to myself. I hadn't really thought about too many things. Who is this? I had a female Indian interviewer sabotage me for a position at HubSpot. That's crazy. My coworker had all the qualifications and didn't get it because he was skin folk. Didn't AT&T move from downtown Dallas as well? That's in the process. They're going to be really probably like 5 minutes, I think, away from where I am, like literally right now when they move down. Let me see. What we need is better information, stronger networks, cleaner systems, and the confidence to reject lies about what they are capable of. I agree, but it's just hard when you don't run the system. It's kind of hard to make drastic changes, which is the tough part, which is that's why we don't really complain too much. We kind of just try to, what they call it, bootstrapping or whatever it's called. But we try to put the work in and try to build our own stuff out, which you find your own roadblocks in that. But that's literally the only way, especially right now, where probably having your own business and having a skill set where you can work C2C with companies. I think that's going to be the norm in the future. Abbott and Ken Paxton said that the community wants to have Sharia law and banned it. Epic City, y'all. That's crazy. Yeah, white people use immigration to displace African Americans, and now the chickens are coming home to roost as they're being replaced as well. Yep, that's the whole. Listen, I'm not that big of a politics person. I just actually believe in common sense and what makes sense. And so while everyone was trying to be in disbelief for the whole migrants thing and stuff like that was happening in the country, it was true. You did have the people coming in and getting rights better than the people that stayed here. And then now when you thought that they was going to help you guys win elections and all this stuff, it backfired. So yeah. The us versus them scenarios are the go-to strategy for prejudicial exploitation to keep thriving. I'm so tired of it. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Now, this one was kind of crazy. He went to all these places where the guy said that they had IT offices, and he was visiting them. So let's talk.
Investigating ghost offices in Texas, where Indian IT staffing companies are undercutting American laborers with an army of H1b Indians that are nowhere to be found. Hello? You see, employers have to state where the worksite is on their H1b Indians labor condition application. The only problem is they don't have to amend this paperwork if the Indian works anywhere within the DFW metropolitan statistical area, which just so happens to be 9,286 square miles large, making it nearly impossible to find these H1b Indians and prove they aren't locked in a cellar somewhere coding C++.
Now, I'm not mad at these people for manipulating the system, because we've been seeing the system manipulated against us with all these rich billionaires to where they get away with doing everything because they have the money to manipulate everything. So I can't get mad if you are doing what's in the realms of the system to work. So I ain't mad at it. Now they may be, but hey, we know a lot of times, I don't know. It's a Patreon worthy conversation if we really can speak freely. That type of stuff definitely needs to be put on a Patreon and not on here because it gets censored too much. And crazy enough, my guy Bryson, if he's still in here, I remember one time we had a live stream where we was reacting to Vivek Ramaswamy and some of the other stuff. And we literally just titled something to get people interested in the video, our H1B is taking over, right? And it wasn't even meant to be derogatory because it was just a statement to get people to click. And because he had an offshore team at the time, they felt the way about it. But I know that they didn't watch the video because we didn't say anything bad. Even now, I haven't said anything bad. It's just really about how these people in Frisco feel about all this type of stuff. And they are actively going to the city council every week to figure out what are y'all going to do about this.
We have plenty of talented people. No, you don't. No, you don't. You also do have to bring in talent.
B4 Tech is right behind me. Let's take a look at the office. We have an empty meeting room in the back here, a Buddha-like statue, completely devoid of life.
I think they should be here.
Someone should be here. 420. There it is. Hello? Hello?
Knock. You in here?
Completely empty. Does anyone work out of here ever? We're convinced this is a body shop. No one's here.
Are you
Ghost
ready?
offices. I'm ready.
Is that on?
It's on.
He's thinking correctly.
Is this ESK?
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Tyler.
Hey, man.
Where do you guys put your H1Bs?
H1B?
Yes.
Ice on ice?
No.
Oh, okay. Wouldn't have much H1B. I think only 3 H1.
We've knocked on a few empty offices that appear to be like ghost offices.
Oh, okay.
Are you familiar with that term?
I'm familiar with the sale companies,
Okay.
but not familiar with a lot of people here.
They should have 4 people working on site.
Yeah, man. So it's getting crazy. Let's see. Shout out to you. Been watching you a couple of years, bro. Did 12 years in the Navy. Now system engineer for L3. Just moved here to Dallas in January, loving it. Looking forward to getting into the black tech community. Hey, shout out to you for the super chat, bro. Yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes I don't even realize I've been online like this long. Like sometimes I have to go back and hit oldest on my videos to see exactly how long I've been making content on this specific channel. Now, if I ever decide to have fun, because I know a lot of people, when I talk to them about creating content or whatever they want to, they're kind of scared. And I tell them like, hey, before you even saw me on here, you should listen to my boxing content and how unpolished it was, but I found it enjoyable. But I took the lessons learned from that channel to here. And maybe one day I may eventually even start back making that type of content if I had the time to. It's very time consuming because it's a niche sport that everyone doesn't care about. I question my future in IT cybersecurity. I think most people do. If they want to be totally honest, I think most people question it, or at least how the market and everything's going to change. I mean, even though we hear about this AI stuff, you have a lot of companies that haven't made money from AI, and they are backtracking on all the people they fired, but like, hey, we actually need those people back because we made a huge mistake. So if you was displaced because of AI and then they bring you back, tax them. Tax them for all the heartache and the pain and all the applications you have to apply to and you didn't get a feedback or anything from. Tax them. Tax them. Let's see. What do we got? We have some cool. So I want to get like some of this. I think let's have fun right here real quick. This is pretty funny to me.
Half of everyone that's become their families or their friends' personal tech support. I just want to say, I don't know how to fix that. I'm just gonna look it up. When you send me an error code, I don't know what that code means either. You know who does? A random guy on Reddit that answered the question 6 years ago. Look for him. I could tell you things like power cycle it, uninstall and reinstall the software, check your debug LED, reset the CMOS. But when it gets to the point that you're saying, well, Tarkov crashes when my mouse gets to 14% battery, I don't know what to tell you, man. Go to Google.
Hey, no, that's facts though, because all my family, hey, what's his name? Like my auntie will hit me up right now and she's having an issue with her email or something. And I mean, I try to go figure it out, but I mean, sometimes I'm at, the same thing. So I'm going on Reddit. I'm just using AI. I'm trying to figure it out just like everybody else is. I'm not like a mechanic. That's okay. These are a lot of questions. Let's see. I would like to do ethical hacking, but I will say I don't know how to properly negotiate for salary. Okay, this is kind of interesting to me. What do you mean? Like, are you already in a job and you need help negotiating, or what? That's kind of a vague question. Real quick, who we got right here? Who you picking? Mayweather or Crawford? Both in prime at 147. That's tough because Crawford is a killer, and at 147, to be honest, it wouldn't be a lot Floyd could do because his hands was already hurt at that time. I mean, Bud from the Midwest, pretty much like Floyd, so he would know how to attack the shoulder roll. Most people would try to fight Floyd with like try to hit at like 1 or 2 punches at a time. That really don't work against the shoulder roll. You got to throw multiple punches. You just go back and watch like when Oscar fought Floyd, or like who else? Anybody, like for example, you could probably say it's a poor man's shoulder roll, but like AB, right? Anybody who like fought him that had a low output, like it was easy for him to beat them. But anybody who like picked up the output and just kept punching, they eventually kind of got through the shell. So Maidana fought a little dirty, but people do gotta understand, like that still is older Floyd. But even in the second fight, Floyd made adjustments and walked to him and beat him. I mean, to be honest, Madonna was already softened up by AB. I really don't care what nobody say or how. If you want to argue that with me, just go back and watch the fight. Turn the sound off. Outside the knockdowns, you'll see AB was winning rounds, and I can pull up videos where Madonna said, "Hey, yeah, Broner hit harder than Floyd. I don't want to fight him again. I'm finna go get this easy money." So that always told me, everything I needed. Honestly, I always wanted AB to advance that fight because I feel like that would have took the mental lock off his brain, and he probably would have did better. But I don't even want to talk about how Al Heyman destroyed like a lot of them PBC fighters' careers, took their money. You got people doing regular jobs. People have mental issues. It's a lot of stuff. A lot of people could have had much better careers. Like, so one of the reasons why I did always I picked against Errol to beat Crawford was Errol didn't fight enough, and it really wasn't his fault. Like, Al and them was running out of money. They had the dates. If you guys noticed towards it might have been like towards 2019 or 2020, PBC started putting like a lot of stuff on pay-per-view because they didn't really have the money versus when he messed the money up previously when everybody used to fight like on Showtime or NBC. So people was fighting once a year, maybe even twice if they was lucky. You are not going to fight your best only fighting once a year. Like Floyd could do that because he had the money at the time to fight like maybe once or twice, but he always kept himself in shape. Everybody else didn't have the money or the luxury he had to fight that way. But let me see what some of these chats say. Let me see. H1Bs, college is practically free for them overseas, while in the U.S. we lack the talent because colleges are too expensive when it should be free along with healthcare. I don't think we lack the talent at all. I think that's some BS that they are selling people. We don't like the talent. They don't want to hire people. There are people who are learning how to do the stuff, and then they tell them they don't have the experience. So I don't think we lack the talent. I think they're just reluctant to hire the people because there's so many people complaining about they can't get a job, but yet they're saying the talent is there. I really do not believe that. And I've worked with a lot of these offshore people. They're not more talented than we are, if you want me to be completely honest. So that's what I'm saying. I don't really buy into that. Do you really think being remote hurts the tech career long term? Lack of upward mobility and out of sight, out of mind narratives. I think younger people, if possible, a hybrid role would be best for them starting off because they need to figure out how to work in corporate. Because a couple of episodes ago, we talked about Gen Z and their lack of initiative. So if you add in a generation that has more of a lack of initiative and let them work remote, they probably will get lost by the wayside just because of not having that initiative. But if you go into an office space and learn from people there, you can take that. And then if you want to work remote or hybrid, you can. But I just think it depends on the company. Like you got a pretty much a remote only company, it won't hurt you much because everybody's remote. Like I said, if you got companies where they got big headquarters everywhere, they're probably going to want you to be in office and you're going to have to go in office to get some visibility. My only thing is don't make the people go in office if the team that they work with is somewhere else. Just let them be remote because they're wasting time to be the only person on their team working in the office for no reason at all. To get on Zoom. You can get on Zoom at home. That's how I feel about that because I've dealt with that. When I worked for JPMC, all my team was in Columbus and I was out here. And so I used to be like, why do I have to wake up, be in traffic, come here just to get on Zoom that I could have been on Zoom at home? Because Madonna was what he did, he held Floyd by the head. He did some other stuff. When I say dirty, I don't mean like cheating. I just meant like B-Hop is known as a dirty fighter. You do certain tactics that you learn and that you can do to win the fight. So I don't mean like he was cheating. I meant dirty. And also there's speculation that Robert Garcia gave Madonna some smelling salts or something when he fought AB. You can find it. It's hard to find, but you got to type in like Robert Garcia, Marcos Maidana, Broner, smelling salts or something. And he came back out like rejuvenated. So like I said, we do know boxing is a dirty game. It's very political. So a lot of times, sometimes the guys can't like leave. Like for example, Pacquiao had so many issues because the way Bob would do the contracts that sometimes he would try to set you up to lose so he can keep the belts with top rank before you would get off. So it's a lot of stuff like that happens. So you got to know how to navigate. If my boy Errol had got ran out the robot mode 3, Errol was a beast. I mean, Errol was still good, but he still had defensive flaws then because Derrick James don't teach good defense. Let's see. The way H1Bs work is if you can't hire someone with those skills locally, you have to result to hire them. I know personally working. I know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying in general, I think we do have the people, and that's the case. They can change the school curriculums in order to get the talent that we need because all these people can do these jobs. They got the mind power. They can do them. We just don't have it set up to where how other cultures, they're focusing on STEM and math at a much earlier rate. And that's why they'll have more people that are in the industry because of everybody's late to it. So you have people sometimes finding out about cybersecurity and STEM and everything else in their 30s and 40s. Meanwhile, this kid was learning about the stuff when they was like 5 or 6. You see what I'm saying? Antonio Brown versus Adrian Broner, the can man all day. What do you think about the trending comment saying everybody getting CISSP 3 days and it's not worth it anymore? Oh, these days. CISSP is worth it, but it's not a technical certification. Some people try to come in and get the CISSP and they don't have a lot of experience. Like you can mitigate some of the domain expertise if you've been working like help desk or some other stuff and you have a degree. You can kind of get away with some of the stuff, but it doesn't help you much if you don't have any management or architecture or any type of experience when you had a CSSP, but you will get hit back for roles. Then it's up to you to be able to execute and sell yourself on the interview. And while we're on the topic of interviews, one of my clients, I think she's going to get this role where she's going to get the promotion at work. But I was telling her, I was like, hey, when you go into this interview with this other guy, because she wasn't interviewing with like a technical person, I think it was like the director or the director's manager. I said, position yourself like a consultant and talk about all the things you fixed and you can continue to fix for the org from a security standpoint versus the typical interview thing. And so she was like, no, I never thought about it like that, because at the end of the day, you got to show your value and sell yourself when you are interviewing people, especially if they're not technically proficient. Just talk to them in layman's terms of certain things that they need to understand. So definitely keep up with the boxing talk. A lot of people in tech also like sports like boxing. Yeah, I agree. Both of the Security Plus and CCNA are still relevant. Security Plus alone is not going to give you a 6-figure security job. CCNA is one of the best networking certs that you can get that paired with the right way, whether you're going into cloud, security, or networking, you eventually should be fine. Most certs are for your resume to get hit because most certs are practical. So that's why when y'all hear people like me and other people where we get these nuanced takes on certifications, it's because we have met people that have different certifications that don't know how to do anything, because you can get a couple of books, a couple of test dumps and practice tests and just study and pass CISSP. But what does that mean? So that's why it's just one of those HR things. Oh, they got the CSSP, they got a master's degree, they got a bachelor's, they've been working in security 10 years. Like you hit all the check boxes for that. But when it comes time to perform, you're going to have to tell us, hey, this is stuff that we see on your resume. Does it translate over to real world performance? But no, I appreciate everybody that's coming in. Let me see. Let me check on this and see how many likes we got on the video. Okay, so we got like 40 people in here, and we only got, well, we actually got 43 people, but we got 18 likes. I need y'all to get them likes up for me.
Bruh, man. What's up, man? Bruh, man, need love too. All right, one love.
Yeah, man, I need y'all to get them likes up, man, for real. Now, here's one. I'm going to see if I can actually speed it up when she talks because it's a long video. But I thought this is one that people need to understand, too, about when you are trying to get into a new role or promote internally in the company.
What the company is not telling you is when it comes to internal promotions, transfers, lateral moves, the salary range does not apply to you guys. All right. This is coming from a recruiter. I've done countless transfers, promotions, lateral moves. The range does not apply to internals. That is for externals only. What you are going to be offered and this is for most companies. I'm not going to say all companies because I haven't worked for all companies, but a lot of companies that I am familiar with, the process is the same across the board. Internal transfers or internal candidates are going to get a percentage increase from where they currently are. They are going to try to get you somewhere in the range of the position where it's graded, but there's no guarantee, and they don't have to give you anywhere in that range. And I've said this before, companies cannot afford to bring everyone internally up to where the job market is.
Yep. And so this is one of the reasons why you'll see people, well, it's a phrase where they say a lot of times you got to leave and come back to get the money that you want because of those internal policies that prevent them from bumping you so much money. Now, sometimes I had a homie, what he did was he negotiated, okay, if y'all can't give me like the base salary, let's write in that I will, get this bonus or split this bonus up for me to get in like the beginning of the year and then the middle of the year. And so he had stuff like that to keep him at the company so he wouldn't leave. And so that worked for him. So there are ways to kind of get around some of this stuff, but you got to be savvy and kind of just know people that can put you on.
Which is the job range that is posted for externals. They cannot afford to bring everyone up to that range. Most companies that I've worked for need approval to give you anything above a 10% increase. I've worked for some companies where it's 15%. Anything above a 15% raise, and it doesn't matter what position you're moving into, needs special approval. And it is a bunch of people that get into a room and say, okay, we're comfortable with this much of an increase. Let's give them 20%. It doesn't interrupt any internal equity. They're fine. They're not at risk of being above the salary range. They're good. We can go ahead and give them 20%. But usually it's somewhere around the 10% range. They don't want to go above that. And so sometimes they won't even bother to even ask for the additional approval. This is why you have to advocate for yourself. Because if you do not, 10% sounds like a lot to a lot of people. It's not to me. I think that 10% going from where you're currently at to a new position, it doesn't cut it. Internals do not dictate and have very little control over what they're going to be offered as an internal for a new position. And sometimes bringing you up from where you're currently at to the lower end of the new range is a stretch. If that exceeds 10, 15%, depending on the company, there needs to be special approval for that in a lot of cases. And sometimes the answer is yes, we can do it. We can bring her to the minimum. And sometimes it's no, we cannot bring that person to the minimum. That's a 30 to 40% increase. Are you crazy? Then what? So think about it like this. Maybe the minimum is fine. They're okay with bringing you up to the minimum. They're definitely not going to bring you to the max. Where you're currently looking for is somewhere in the middle. That's too big of a jump for them. You've got too much dip on your chip. And they are like, we're not doing it. We're going to find someone else internally. We can bring up 10 to 20% that's comfortable with the lower end of the range, and they're going to get the job. The truth is, you're going to have to get them to make you an offer and provide you with some data supporting whatever number they throw out at you. Otherwise, and the harsh reality is, you're probably not going to get what you're deserving of at this company. You're going to get what you are supposed to be making at another company. That's it.
I mean, she kept it honest. But yeah, that's interesting. I definitely want, if you are a person that's probably got a promotion at a company more than like 10, 15%, like if you're in the chat, like let me know, and how was that for you? Because like I said, it is hard. Maybe you can negotiate, you get 15 this year and then 15 the next year. There's a way, because think about it. If not, they got to pay somebody who doesn't know the environment like you do more, and it's going to take them longer to get up to speed. Meanwhile, you can hit the ground running. I know that's a toxic phrase, but hey, let's see what some of these other ones said. The 100K H1B fund should have gone to a fund that directly pays free STEM education for Americans in impoverished families. I agree. I know some colleges are doing that. Like if your family make under 100K, then school is free for you. Let's see what we have right here. Fresh Prince, Grade and Martin. I mean, they're kind of different type of shows, but to be honest, Jamie Foxx show is smoking both of them. What do you think about the AI disintegrating every sector right now? Claude, Mythos, and the likes going to reduce the workforce we need in cyber, and only real skilled and technical people will get hired. That's interesting. I actually found a TikTok video where a guy was talking about like, is Anthropic actually posturing, or is Mythos really like that? Because nobody really knows right now. It's really one of those like, hey, you just got to believe me type things versus like maybe the companies that they're actually working with. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people internally have seen communications about Mythos and how to get their hands on it and everything else. Let's see what do we have. Give me a quick second. Let's see. I don't know. I mean, that's possible. I think that's possible. I haven't really worked in a big tech job. I worked at some companies that had some good name recognition. So you could be right there. You could be right there. Yeah, that's true. I went from 140s to 230s internal promo. Okay. I'll take your word for that one then. I'll take your word. I have, like I said, I haven't seen a lot. I was talking to a guy at work before we was talking about this and how they had to kind of finesse, like, hey, I want more based on like, hey, what's on this this job posting. Let's see. I had two different situations. One company's 120 to like 125, and they kept promising to increase it, but never did. And a different company from 115 to 139K with no qualms. So it's really the company. I agree. We say after a year or two, start applying externally, so maybe you can leverage the offer internally. Also, it's a dirty game sometimes, but that's life. And sometimes you can try to leverage the offer and it may backfire. So you have to be careful and just make sure you know what you're doing when you try to leverage that. How do you get from a bad PIP? I feel stuck in the mid 60K. I'm gonna tell you, like I told a client of mine, if you feel stuck at the mid 60K, then you're only applying to the jobs that pay mid 60K. You got to apply to the jobs that have the salary you want in order to get those jobs. Now, I know how simple that is, but sometimes mentally people can't see themselves making more money because they haven't made that amount of money. But literally, once we revamped this resume and we did his LinkedIn and we started applying to the jobs that that paid him what he wanted to get paid, he started getting more hitbacks. Because sometimes you may be stuck too because you may be overqualified for the mid 60K jobs. So definitely, if you want a PIP, time to like update your resume and everything else and apply to jobs. You make a mid 60Ks, apply to the 85, 90,000, $100,000 jobs and go from there and see what you can get. And since we were talking about like internals and interviews, well, somebody brought up AI. So I thought this was funny. And then we got another one.
Right. How the fuck do they expect me to do this fucking?
Check this out.
How I improve my approach using past experiences, using the knowledge that I have that I gained over the years.
I know, bro. It was like this in the AI interview. Let me see.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy.
Hey, I know people with only high school diplomas making six figures. I have a couple of good friends of mine only have like associates and they're making pretty much like 200 what plus total comp. So it's really like, don't worry about the degree stuff. If you have the skills and you got the years experience or whatever, what they looking for, and you can say yourself in an interview, that degree and stuff not gonna hold you up unless it's like certain industries where they require a degree. Other than that, you should be fine. So if you got the skills, don't focus on if you got a certain degree, could you make more? Like that is totally irrelevant. Like if you got the skills, you can make as much money as your skills will allow you to make. Yeah, I've seen some of those videos with the AI stuff where they're doing the interviews and reading off the teleprompter and everything else. People can tell that, like people who are seasoned, they can tell when you're just reading off. So where you think you're getting off at, you're not. We actually just reacted to the North Koreans when they do that stuff to steal people's identities and work elsewhere. But it's not, to me, it's not good because I've seen people get a job and then get immediately fired because they don't know what they're doing. So you could try to finesse yourself, but it's only so long you can run. It's only a small subset of people that can ramp up and get caught up to speed at a new job with no experience like this. Most people cannot do that. And that's why I don't advocate for them to cheat on interviews.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Hiring managers, interview panelists, y'all come to the table. Come here real quick. I just want to know, are some of y'all cool? Y'all good? Do some of y'all need a hug? Did y'all be having bad days in interviews? Like, there's never a reason for y'all to try to be intimidating in the job interview. There's never a reason. And I'm not saying all y'all do it, but a lot of y'all do it. And it don't sit right with me. Y'all don't have to try to be intimidating to the interviewee in the job interview. You do know that is a forecast to show your prospective and potential employee and staff member the culture that is already set or that you'll be setting in the work environment. Yeah. Because what's the point of that? What's the purpose of you trying to be intimidating in the job interview? Why? Are you feeling some type of way? As a matter of fact, you are feeling some type of way and your insecurity is showing forth and is bleeding into the job interview. I'm gonna need you to go talk to somebody.
Now, I do want to stop right here because when he says intimidating, I really want to know, what does he mean by that? Like, are they trying to intimidate them by just having a certain look on their face or nonchalant or what? Because I also know this, and I've said this before, because this came on the cusp of me listening to a client's interview that he had with this company that I worked at before. I listened to the interview and I was like, for example, my client came into the call and he said, "Hey, how you doing, so-and-so?" And I think the first time maybe he didn't think of him. So he said, "So, hey, how you doing?" The guy never said, "Oh, I'm doing good. How you doing?" He was not welcoming or anything. He didn't try to get my client's anxiety down to actually have a conversation with him and just kind of just grill him on stuff. What's some of the stuff you should have known? Yes. But I'll tell this example, right? I interviewed with Microsoft 4 years ago at the end of like it was like November, December-ish, I think, of 2022. And it was like one of the first interviews, I think, of my loop. And I forgot what the guy was, but I was nervous. I think I was interviewing for like a IR role or something. And at this time, guys, I had almost spent like 2 years of not being as technical as I was previously. So I had already kind of just like, I need to get back being technical because I'm losing some of the thought processes and skills that I had. But I started off nervous and shaky. And the interviewer knew that, and they got me to stop being so nervous. And we ended up having a good interview. And that's all that happens sometimes. Sometimes you got anxiety. I was like, think about it. I had been playing my Xbox for years and just Microsoft. And then the thoughts of just like, oh, I could be at a big tech company and make whatever money. Like, it was just a lot on top of, I just was tired of the job I already had. So a lot of stuff be building anxiety. And so a lot of interviewers do not have good emotional intelligence. And that's why sometimes where you might have think you had a bad applicant, they actually was a nervous person who would have did better had they felt better, and you made them more welcoming on the call. So let's get him back up here and let him finish it out.
We need you to get a handle, get a grip on your insecurities, and get a grip and understand why you're trying to be intimidating to an interviewee in the job interview. It makes no sense. You don't have to do it. Yeah, go sit on somebody's couch. Go talk to somebody. Go journal. Go color. Go do something. Maybe next time, don't sit in on any of the interview process. Have a great Tuesday.
He was real perturbed. So I wonder if that was stemming from personal experience. And I also like, let's see. They said, I know people like that asking harder, irrelevant questions for no reason. Exactly. I hate that. Like, don't ask me stuff about port numbers that I'm gonna know based on the sim gonna tell me what port number stuff is. I mean, should I know it? Absolutely. But when you've been doing something for X long years, like the last thing you worried about is memorizing port numbers. Like, as long as I know what to do, if I see something that's actually true positive and suspicious, that should weigh more than if I memorize what port 5023 is. And I'm just being facetious right here. And also just nitpicking your resume, not having a conversation about how can you help the org and what would you be doing on a day-to-day. Oh, hey, how were you able to do this so fast in a year? Like, what? Like, come on, bro. And you can just basically say, hey, I'm just going to BS you because, we really don't want to hire you. Like, because that's one of the things where it was like a technical panel and everybody probably on that panel had to say yes. And I was just like, bro, I already had the backdrop on this team before. Everybody came from like a similar company. I was like, yeah, I already know what it is. Put the fries in the bag. Hey, you should schedule. Listen, my booking link is like one of the first links in the description. You should just schedule a consult with me. I know you got a lot of questions, and I can't answer them here, and I can't answer them to your actual what's what I'm looking for? Like what's going on currently with your career. I can't answer them that way, at least on here. So book a call, and I got you every call, or for anybody who wants to book a call, every call you book with me is recorded through Loom, and you get a copy of that, and it summarizes our call and gives you action items on to work on after our call. So do that. And then for the other people who don't need a call and you need to get, matter of fact, let me see if I got it on here. So I'm not mumbling words. This is an older ad, but it still helps out. This video is being sponsored by Textual Consulting. Are you still struggling to get into cybersecurity? Are you not getting interviews? Do you have a bad resume? Or is it all the above? Well, if that's you, then we got you covered at Textual Consulting. My name is Henry Davis. I'm a career coach and a cybersecurity professional, and I've helped hundreds, maybe even thousands of people get into cybersecurity with my coaching and my content that you've seen in various places. Now, I specialize in specifically getting people in the blue team. That would be incident response or SOC analyst. I can cover everything from your entry level to your medium to your advanced skills and really help you outperform your resume. You don't believe me? Check out some of these testimonials that I've had from recent clients. So if you're interested, click the link in my bio, textualconsulting.com/offerings to see what offerings that we have available for you. Now, back to the show. All right, I just had to throw that in there. I forgot I had the ad over there, but yeah, just book a call. I got you. Now that link that you guys saw on the actual video does not resolve anymore. So I have another one that you guys can use. And let me see, I can I'll put that up and I'll just put it in the chat so people can see. And I gotta actually update some stuff with this too. This is for the people that know exactly what they need. Like some people, they only need help with their resume and LinkedIn. They still been getting interviews, but they're kind of a little rocky. And then there are people that need a little bit more hands-on. So every bundle does actually come with like coaching calls. So I actually need to update that. The lower tier, that comes with like 5 coaching calls. And then the middle one's 10. And then I think the VIP joint comes with like 10 plus or whatever. Now, a lot of people don't use all their calls because a lot of the questions you have, I probably answered. But in the event you need a call, we could talk about it. And also you get a year access to everything. So I'm going to end up updating a lot of stuff, adding some more downloadables soon. Also showing you how to use AI in your interviewing process because, people don't know how to prompt correctly and how to get, detailed answers for what they need. And it was something that one of my clients we worked on when we did interview prep, and then paid out dividends for them to not be as nervous. Let's see. If you need to just book a call, use the Calendly link. That's much easier to for you guys to use. Let me find that while I'm talking. And while I'm talking, where y'all watching from? Like, let me know in the chat where y'all watching from. All right, so I'll put that there. Okay, cool. Let's see. So I thought this was interesting, right? As a person who has kids that's going to school now, I thought this was very interesting. So let's check this out real quick.
Say everyone needs prison, but I think I need to go to prison for what I did.
Matthew D. Lane.
Shortly after graduating high school, this Massachusetts teenager, Matthew Lane, helped launch what's been called the biggest cyber attack in U.S. education history, hacking PowerSchool, a student-teacher portal used by 80% of school districts across North America. The company paid millions in ransom, hoping to recover what Matthew and an accomplice potentially compromised, the sensitive information of 60 million students. The company later saying it paid the ransom because it was in the best interest of our customers. Matthew, now just 20 years old, sat down with ABC News for an exclusive interview 2 days before reporting to federal prison for a 4-year sentence.
Are you not scared?
Yeah. Of course I'm scared.
For Matthew and so many others like him, his gateway to cybercrime was a gaming platform that most every teenager knows, Roblox.
So I got to pause it right here because I don't remember hearing about this PowerSchool hack. Let me see something real quick. Okay, so this happened in 2024. And let's see real quick. PowerSchool is aware that a threat actor has reached out to multiple school district customers and attempted to extort them using data from the previously reported. Okay, but I want to know what happened. So they gave a summary. Let's see. They had unauthorized exfiltration of personal information from certain PowerSchool student information systems through one of our community-focused customer support portals. PowerSchool did not experience any operational disruption and continue to provide services as normal to our customers. When they learned of the incident, they engaged their cybersecurity response protocols and mobilized a cross-functional response team, including senior leadership and third-party cybersecurity experts. They have no evidence that other PowerSchool products were affected as a result of this incident or that there's any malware or continued unauthorized activity in the PowerSchool environment. Let's see. So information involved was related to current and former students and educators involved, including one or more of the following, which varied by person, name, contact information, date of birth, limited medical alert information, social security numbers, social insurance numbers, and other related information. They have no evidence that credit or banking information was involved due to differences in customer requirements. The information exfiltrated for any given individual varied across our customer base. Okay. So CrowdStrike is actually I guess they have on retainer for their instant response. So they engaged CrowdStrike, and CrowdStrike did not identify any new or concerning findings beyond what they already shared. So this is the breakdown CrowdStrike gave. The threat actor accessed PowerSource, a community-focused customer support portal, using a single compromised credential. The threat actor's activities were limited to exfiltration of select PowerSchool SIS instances of student and teacher tables. CrowdStrike's Recon Intelligence Services has not identified any evidence of this exfiltrated information available for sale or download. And then CrowdStrike found no evidence of system layer access or malware associated with this incident. And they found no other PowerSchool products were compromised. All right. I just want to see that because I don't remember covering that. But let's see what the young man has to say.
Here, every game is built by the community.
Every hacker is a gamer.
And that's because it's the same mentality. It's spotting patterns, it's solving puzzles, it's breaking rules. The bad guys are on all the platforms watching the kids playing. And when they see an elite level performer, they go approach that kid masquerading as another kid and they go, hey, you want to earn some crypto? Here are the tools, here are the techniques.
Experts warn.
Now, I want to stop it right there because Cybershortieee and I actually talked about how dangerous Roblox can be to no matter how old your child is, because everyone who they may be interacting with may not be a child and is able to convince them, hey, you can do this to get some Robux, to do XYZ. And you got to teach your kids early on, hey, nobody going to give you anything for free. As much as they tell you it's free, it's always a cost attached to it. So if you have kids on Roblox, definitely pay attention to what they do on there, their chats and everything, because everybody may not be the same age as them. And it's a hot take, but I think if kids are going to play stuff like that and they are going to be using the chat, they probably should have webcams. But now with these deep fakes, somebody can act like they're a kid. So never mind, scratch that. It's not a good idea. But let's continue.
And this new generation of cyber criminals is uniquely dangerous and shockingly young.
Individuals as young as 14 are being interviewed by the FBI.
This 17-year-old from Wisconsin told police that hacking was his hobby.
When was the last time you hacked someone's account?
Less than a week ago.
He then targeted 60,000 accounts at the massive sports betting platform DraftKings. He pleaded guilty to a computer intrusion charge and was sentenced to 18 months behind bars.
We're walking out to the truck.
When this Tampa man was younger, he stole millions in cryptocurrency, turning it into cash that was sent to him at his parents' home.
It would come in like vacuum sealed packages. My mom would go to the mailbox and she sees my mail and she just puts it on my bed, but she doesn't know it's $100,000 in cash.
He served 27 months in prison and now dedicates his life to making sure others don't do what he did.
What would you tell this kid now?
Don't start hacking.
Matthew Lane agrees, pleading guilty to several hacking-related charges.
I'm so thankful I got caught. I really am. Because I would have never stopped.
Just unreal. Now, we reached out to Roblox, which told us that they have cutting-edge anti-cheat systems and that they have hired several young people from another cybersecurity-related program who now work full-time at Roblox securing our systems. Roblox has announced that it will roll out new protections for users under 16, including a new system called Roblox Kids with technology that verifies their age.
Is that enough to protect kids from getting lured into hacking?
Well, they think so at this point, for sure. But remember, we're talking about stranger danger, right? That's something that we've always heard about, stranger danger. That's still a thing, but this time, it's not just in the playgrounds. It's happening right there in these gaming consoles. It's all happening there. So now the experts are actually saying, you know what? Why don't you have your parents, why don't have the parents go game with the kids so that they understand how it is that they're using this technology?
So that is a lot. But so here's the thing. We know that when we were younger, that you can go get a job working at Sonic or wherever if you're 16, you can go get a job at some fast food place. These kids are becoming skilled enough to hack into enterprise environments. There needs to be some type of programs, hey, where we have the minors and cybersecurity program where kids can work at actual companies to, one, learn the ethical side of why they talk so much about ethics when you get into cybersecurity, and two, give them something to do. Let them make some honest money versus, think about it, everybody doesn't have the parents that can buy them, let alone the stuff that they need and then the stuff that they want. So you come in with the cyber criminals and they convince you with this money. And like I said, you don't realize like nothing is for free. It's going to take something. If you're getting something that's too good to be true, it normally is. As a child, those kids' minds aren't developed all the way to understand that, okay, just because I didn't get caught, like something bad can happen with this. I don't really know the ramifications of who I am actually disrupting when I do these things, especially people in my own country. Like a lot of times we hear about these hackers or these hacking groups, and they aren't in the U.S. They're overseas. They don't have no loyalty to the country. So they're trying to get money from whatever companies they can and spread the wealth around. So definitely they should do that, because think about it. How are these teenagers hacking, and then in the same breath, you apply to a company that want 5 years of experience? that's why when earlier whoever was talking about we don't have the talent, we do have the talent. It's just gate kept in a way to make people go to school or do this or do that in order to even get into the industry. And I do think that's a sucky part of what's killing everything. Because pretty soon now, you got the boomers, they finna get out of here. You still got Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, and then eventually Gen Alpha. What's gonna be left if y'all keep on trying to make everybody wait? So like we're not gonna have the skilled workers because y'all won't let them work to get the skills. Back in the day, these people didn't know how to work in the factories to do this other stuff. What happened? They got hired and they did the job. When computers first came out and everything came out, they brought the computers to the companies. They trained the staff on how to use the computers. Now, all of a sudden, when people want to do a job that's going to pay them a living wage, they don't want to train them, and you need experience for something that initially, when information security and everything was brought about, there were any parameters or what you need to learn how to do. So you got trained on how to do it. I think so. I think companies just are missing the plot. These kids, that's why I said these kids are more than able to learn how to do this stuff at a very high level and will respect what they do and be happy about the money that they actually earn versus stealing from somebody. But I do think, what was the guy? He got 18 months. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really know how the laws pertain to that stuff with kids. And I don't know the ins and out of their like trials. Like, did they perform everything? Were they just included? Like what? Because I think people are probably considering lawyers like, well, they're a kid. I mean, if you go tell a kid to go do this because they can have, candy that the mom said they can't have, they'll probably go do it. We're not realizing it's a reason why your mom or your dad said you can't have this much candy. Let's see. So shout out, we got people in here. Dallas, Nashville, from Miami to Florida, Missouri, Ohio, OKC. Shout out to y'all. So this came after, I guess, our interview convo. Ashlyn said, I was very nervous on the interview. One of the interviewers was very rude, talking down to me and accusing me of lying. I was just nervous. And his attitude made it worse, and I just left. Yeah, I'm definitely with that because that's my inception to understanding your company culture. If you got a bad process, it take me a lot of time to get in touch with the recruiters. That lets me know how y'all are. And no, I'm not rock with it. Like, I have companies that I will definitely vouch for all the time, even if I can get the job, but I love the interview experience. I always say, yo, I would definitely work for them. So that definitely matters. Some interviewers do not need to be one. We was outside. Some of these kids are zombies on these games. I agree. Like I said, I don't believe in kids having a lot of just unfiltered alone time with technology because it's too much stuff that they can have access to now. Now, people may akin it to how when we was younger, you could just watch TV, but you got to think about it. When I was young, so I'm born in 92, I just made 34. Digital cable and satellite came out like kind of years later. Like, I think I might have been in 4th or 5th grade when digital cable came out. And that's when we had all these different channels to where you did have to start putting parental controls on there because it's different stuff you can watch or satellite. But for the most part, a lot of people still have regular TV like Fox, CBS, NBC, UPN, and all that stuff. Then you have people that have regular cable, and you might have had Channel 5, HBO. I don't know where it was in your region, but you didn't have all that unfiltered access. And then you go to the computer. A lot of people didn't have computers in their homes, and then you did have computers. You had dial-up. So, of course, you wouldn't go on a computer all day because you're going to tie up the phone lines. And the only people who really had, the parents had a lot of money or good jobs, they could afford to have a second phone line. So that one would be tied up to be on a computer all day versus the dial-up doing on the main one. And then I think by the time I was in high school, that's when like DSL became, more widespread and everybody was online all the time with MySpace and Facebook and everything else. Now, kids know how to use the internet and be on the iPhone from a young age because everything's so connected. It wasn't always like this. So that's why you got to watch out for what they're doing. Let's see. Here, organized crime uses it to funnel money. Yeah, I agree. Let's see what else we got for y'all real quick. Because I think we got through a lot of good stuff. I think it's two things. This one about the millennials pivoting And then the last one is going to be on the Anthropic thing. Actually, let's go to this, and then we'll go to the millennials pivoting.
I see coming out about Claude Mythos, the more I think that Anthropic is screwed. Now, hear me out on this, because the reason why I'm saying this is more and more security professionals have been actually looking at the day one issues that they found, the security issues that they're saying that Claude Mythos is like the one thing that can find it. And they actually took older models from previous like AI companies, and they said, can these older models find the same types of issues? And every single time they found the same exact issues. Now, why is that important? It's important because they said one of the greatest things about Claude Mythos is that it can find vulnerabilities that previous models couldn't. And security researchers actually found that they could find the same exact models that are less intelligent than Claude Mythos. And then not only that, but they also saw that it's really only increased a few percentage points in the area of security. So the whole marketing scheme going around Claude Mythos is completely unfounded. And the more security researchers that get their hand on this, the more that they're seeing that there's really nothing spectacular about this. Why am I saying that Anthropic is looking like they're kind of screwed on this? It's because they're taking the realm of like, we're replacing everybody and touting this to CEOs or companies saying that they can replace all of their employees, to now they're saying, oh, well, it's really good at security now. And this was like their button that they're pushing for marketing. But even on the security piece, professionals are finding that it's really not even that great when it comes to security. It's only really increased a few percentage points. Now, the whole issue around this isn't that AI isn't useful. It's the problem is that they are touting it, that they are crushing it, that Mythos is unbelievable, that they're scared to release it to the public, and people are falling for the marketing hand over fist, and people are slowly starting to realize that this is all just marketing ploys, and every single time they come out with these releases, it's never actually true. Like, they can never actually back up the technical capabilities with what their marketing team is saying. And not only that, but I think moving forward, more and more people are going to realize that if they want to skip out and make it so that their code base and their software or their applications aren't vulnerable, they may want to stay away from having these AI models generate their code, because these AI models that are generating the code, they're going to have security vulnerabilities in it, because then there's going to be other tools using the same AI models that can do the security research to find the same exact issues that their AI generated code creates. So big scale, what does this mean for you? What it means is stop giving a shit and falling for the gaslighting, marketing that is all over the place when it comes to AI, and put your head down and focus on getting really good. I can guarantee you that you cannot go wrong just getting really good at your craft and knowing what the fuck you're doing at your job.
That should have been actually the intro. That should have been the intro of the actual show. Matter of fact, let me see where we at. Where's that thing at? Had to give him some gunshots for that. But no, he pretty much just said, hey, AI is gonna, it's kind of like when you work with all these different security vendors now, their stuff is gonna do a good job, but it has to not do a total good job, because there needs to be a need for the vendor or whoever else to come help you when issues come up. So what I surmise from what he said is like, hey, yes, it's going to be good, but it's going to be in a way that it can still have stuff mess up, so you can still pay to use Mythos or whatever other AI tool there is out there. And they're going to always have issues because they want you to lean on using their tools, but they're still going to have things that need to be fixed. So it could be job security for AI. And so he's just saying, like, as long as you know what you're talking about, with the exception of also using AI, you should be good, which what most people say. Because I really find it hard to believe that companies would just adopt and abandon every person in their security org and rely on an agent. Because as soon as the agent can possibly transcend to be smarter than what it actually is and act on its own accord, who polices the police? So I definitely like his take on that. And as more information comes out, maybe the curtain is drawn back on Mythos and saying, yeah, we was woofing, but it was a good way to get attention. Because that's literally how they marketed it. All people talked about that week was about Mythos and Glasswing and how it's going to help change the security world of all these big companies, literally. And then, so back on what we was talking about earlier, I'm a 90s baby. I was watching 106 in Park, going outside all day. We was too broke for a computer. Yeah, we had an episode where I think we broke down like how many people actually have a computer at the home and all that. Like they may have phones or an iPad, but like I think I got my computer seventh or 8th grade, and that was it was like an HP. I think like mom got it for, I can't remember when she got it, but it wasn't nothing special. It was just a regular computer, HP computer. And a lot of people didn't have it, so you had to go like might didn't have a printer, and like I said, you definitely probably didn't have fast internet. Who is this? I remember back in the day when it was football season, everybody piled up at my great aunt's house to watch the Skins play because she had all the good channels. Now that's facts. You always, and we still go over our relatives' house that got all the channels or the pay-per-view. Let's see. I missed the start time. Thought I saw the notification, but it took me to something different. Dang. Sorry about that. Do your own research and dismiss the marketing place. Yeah, I agree. Everything is, you got to always take a step back and look at everything about like 100 to 200 feet above and kind of see what they're getting at. But I think this last one here was for my millennials right here. Let's see. I'm double checking now. Make sure we had everything. Oh, no. We actually had two things. This one right here, because people who are overqualified
want you to
do
be
this.
overqualified, and here's why. It's not because they're too cheap and can't afford you in most cases. It's simply because that is not what they're looking for in this role that they are hiring for. Most overqualified people are taking the job because they need to. And while you may be willing to do it, how long are you willing to do it for? And before you bean soup this whole video, understand, yes, there are reasons people do take legitimate steps back. But usually when we talk about this topic, we are talking about people who are struggling to find work. I can't even get an entry-level job. But almost every overqualified hire goes one of three ways. One is that they spend the entire time there looking for something better and that pays the level they're looking for and are gone as soon as they find it. Two is they come in right away with an attitude that they are above the people on their level and maybe even above the people above them. And three is that they start doing more than they're asked to do, which could be great, but almost immediately leads to them saying, hey, I'm doing all these other things. I should be making this money and have this title, which may be true now. And maybe those opportunities were going to be there, but it wasn't what you were hired to do. It wasn't what you were asked to do. And it wasn't what the company needed you to do. Wanting to progress, get more to do, make more money, that's great. But expecting it immediately when you were specifically brought in for a different reason is not going to help. What you have the ability to do and what somebody needs you to do can be different things. And that's why it's often a waste of your time to apply for those jobs that you would consider yourself below you. And if it was reversed and you were the person who was perfectly qualified for a job and lost out to somebody who was several steps above you and taking this as a step backwards, knowing it was just a band-aid to hold them over for a little bit, you would not like that as the other candidate. So when people argue for this, they're usually only thinking about it in the way that benefits them the most, not the way that actually makes the most sense.
I agree. I think I did work, like not something that I was overqualified for, but there's been times working with people that were overqualified for something and they complain. And so I also want to show that too, because it's kind of nuanced. So one, this comes with the people with certs and degrees, and they want to get in cybersecurity, but they're applying to help desk roles. A lot of the recruiters or managers may look at your resume and say, I know they want to get in security. So even if we hire them, time they get hit by a security company, they're going to leave us. And I say that because I was dealing with a client and he had that situation arise to where they was like, man, you sure you want to do this? Your resume has a lot of cyber stuff on it. So you have to be kind of finessey when you apply to some of those roles where like you may not need to put everything on there and you may need to look like the typical avatar where they hire. Now, let's go even more so to the people who have a lot of experience that are trying to get hired at maybe even something that's senior level, but maybe they should be applying to director or up roles. Only put the last 5 years of experience on your resume so you can at least probably get hit back for some of the roles and don't appear to be so overqualified. That's probably what's happening to you because they're going to see the same thing. Hey, this person is trying to apply to this entry mid-level role, but they have 15 years of experience. They're going to leave us time to go get whatever role they're looking for, even though you apply to the job because you need the job. But this is some of the psyche about it because they're looking for team players and not a person, I'm better than this. I don't know why I'm even doing this. I'm just doing this because I need X, Y, Z. All the type of stuff that he displayed in that video is definitely what you see happen from that. So those are two things that I definitely notice when people try to apply to jobs now is you're applying for stuff that you're overqualified for. And even to go back into what one of the guys was saying in the chat about feeling stuck at 65K. You may be overqualified for the 60K roles now, and you need to apply to the roles that cost more because that's where your skills take you at now. Oh, this is him right here. He says, many roles hide the fact they are hiring for help desk style roles. What do you mean they hide the fact? It's literally either they tell you in a job description or what. I know how to decipher through something that say, oh, this is like help desk. They may dress the title up, but the job description and duties don't lie to let you know if it's a support type role. And if you have trouble with that, if you don't have anybody you can ask, hey, look at this role and tell me what you think. Ask AI to break it down. Hey, review this job description. Tell me what you think about it. Do you think this is help desk type of role or what? Because they use different type of verbiage and they may dress stuff up just to get you there. But normally what lets you know stuff is help desk, it probably say 0 to 2 years experience, a lot of support type of jargon, and then the pay. The pay is normally kind of low. And so that's kind of lets me know it's a lot of support related stuff. But all right, here's the last one that I was actually thinking about right here with the millennials pivoting. Here we go.
Every millennial is pivoting right now, and if you're not, you probably should be. People keep talking about the great millennial career crisis. I don't think it's a crisis. I think it's an identity shift. I think people are getting older and they're evolving, and what they want out of life is changing. And that's exactly what should happen when you're in your 30s or your early 40s. I think there are a few things that we can attribute to what people are calling the crisis, even though it's not. It's just a shift. First, people are no longer subscribing to the American dream that we were sold, which was go to college, get a degree, get a job, meet your person, move to the burbs, buy a house, start a family. Some people still do it, but largely it is just not really attainable for the majority, especially in this economy with the inflation that we're seeing. So I don't think that is what success needs to look like. B, I think everyone needs to redefine what success means to them, which leads me to the second shift. Like in your 20s, you are constantly trying to climb the ladder. You're learning new skills. You just want to prove yourself. You are so desperately seeking to have a seat at the table and get in the room. I feel like as you get older, you care less about that because you have the receipts. You've been working for 10 or 15 years at this point. You have proven that you can do whatever it is that you're doing already. So at this point, you're probably prioritizing peace over proving yourself.
So she said a lot of good stuff, especially with the American dream and being attainable. And I agree. Inflation is crazy. We were talking about last week how the boomers will say everybody's trying hard enough, but realizing, hey, what y'all houses cost versus what our houses cost are two different things. And you got to make a lot more money to be able to afford the average house now in certain cities versus in days past where you could work at a factory and you could have a 3-bedroom house with your family, a car or two, and go on vacations on a lower salary versus in today's time. So she's right on that. A lot of people, like I say, you have so many different things that's going on with the economy, and if people actually even want to be married and all the other stuff, and they are defining their own success. And now I do see like where you say, I'll say 20s and 30s is where you're really trying to climb that corporate ladder. And I also say it would depend on the person's mindset of what they want to do, of just being peaceful. I feel like men with families they have to take care of don't have the same mindset of like want to be peaceful. I feel like there may be, and it's not a sexist thing, it could go two ways. If you don't really want to do that, then I would say like a lot of women I know will more so just want to just straddle the fence and just make the money and do what they got to do for their family. I definitely understand that because that's, you may not want to be ambitious. But I think more family-centered men are going to probably like grind until they can't grind no more. Because most of us know we're not thinking about like the right now. We're thinking about the 10, 15, 20 years after this. So a lot of times I'm probably not thinking about 36 or 37. I'm thinking about 56 and 57. So that's kind of some insight I want to add right here. And then let's let her finish up.
Which is a positive change. Like you very much have the power to create the life that you want and design it the way that you want it to look. And it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. I also think there's a lot of confusion around what work looks like, whether you have a 9-to-5 or you're a business owner. There are a lot of people that have 9-to-5s that are leaving because they want to start something new for the first time. I know a lot of business owners that have been around for the last 10 years and they're burnt out and now they're looking for 9-to-5s. We're going to keep seeing it. We're going to see people do both. We're going to see people do both and then some. I've been talking about the portfolio career, which is a new term that essentially means your skills and your expertise, what you can do as a portfolio, means a little bit more than your job title. Like, I don't think any of those things really matter anymore. So you are not alone if you feel as though things are kind of being shaken right now and you're in a state of transition. But you also need to know that's actually what is supposed to be happening right now. I would be a little fearful if you didn't feel like you needed to change.
I get a little bit of what she was saying. I definitely do see that. I do see how a lot of entrepreneurs try to de-glamorize being a business owner because it's like, hey, like a lot of times we not making money. We just doing it for the love of the game. And people need those benefits. And like I said, they starting families now. I think we're starting families later than what we used to. Back in the day, people starting families early 20s. Now you got like probably like mid 30s, late 30s, maybe 40s now when they're starting families. When they're actually trying to be intentional about starting families, not like other things that happen. So this was about the overqualified stuff. It goes the other way too. Could be doing more like sysadmin work. Agreed. I have people when we do consults, I'm like, bro, you're doing security engineering, sysadmin type of work for help desk pay. Let's reestablish you in the market and get you paid. Happens all the time. And funny enough, I don't even know if I don't have a screenshot of it on here. Maybe I would have to crop out my guy's name. But for those that follow me, you know, I'm always talking about testimonials. So I had my client that went from, I think he went from like 48K or something like that to 84K. And we were just talking and he was just so excited about making that much more money. And I said that because he went from doing like, I think lower level or like sysadmin stuff like help desk pay for actually getting some sysadmin pay at a new company. And I said that because so many people are talking about the last couple of things on Threads and X have been about like 70K and it's not enough money to live and all this other stuff. Like BS. We know most people don't make, but like what, like $40,000, $50,000. Making 84 really puts you in a different tax bracket. Two, that's a lot of money if you've never seen it on your check before. And so don't believe the hype. It's still people out here like working their way up and being excited that they are now in the 80s and getting paid good for the work that they do. Like, I think like so many people try to be funny out of such reality. And a lot of times the people who are like starting these rides are people that don't even make the 70K. Sometimes there are people that make much more than that. Some people, they don't make nowhere near that at all. And they just rage baiting people. So you got to watch out for people like that. Let's see. Is it better to start your own business rather than looking for the six-figure job position, that you may be laid off? Define what do you mean? What are you going to do in your business? And also, do you have like the qualifications to get a six-figure job? I think those are two different things. If you're going to be in tech, everyone has always known that it could be a volatile market, so you could be laid off at any time, unless you might have like a federal job where they tend not to really lay people off because a lot of those jobs require clearances and everybody just can't get a clearance. And so that's why a lot of people go the government route. But I would just say it just depends on what your wants. Do you want stability? Do you want to check, bi-weekly or semi-monthly? Do you want good benefits and maybe, a decent 401k match? Then try to go find the high six-figure job that'll allow you to do stuff. And what most people are doing now is they get hopefully the six-figure job, and then they start learning different skills outside of that to start their own businesses that maybe they could eventually leave their full-time job for. Let me see. I've seen a lot of sysadmin roles were advertised as sysadmin roles, but description is almost, facts. That's big facts. And last one says, facts. I started help desk at 18 an hour. When I got that first big pay jump, I was about to cry. Yeah, same for me. I came across looking at my photos the other day, my offer letter for Apex Systems back in, what was it? It was either March or April of 2014, making 17 an hour. And I thought that was a lot because I was going from 775. So that's why I just try to be realistic on here. Just of like, I deal with different type of people all the time with my clients. I've had clients that went from 70 to 150 to some of them to the 200s. Some people with the 50, 60 or whatever it is, like all that. Also, if you do need help with negotiating, I definitely am here to help out with that too. I was talking to a client and I hadn't heard from a while, so they accepted the gig, but then they didn't reach out to me about it because, you know, what they negotiated for was really, to me, not worth them taking a new job outside of just saying, hey, it's a little bit more money and I'm going to get the experience that I'm looking for. But other than that, I'm definitely here to help you negotiate because a lot of people do not have the skill set yet to negotiate. And truth be told, they're scared to negotiate. But guys, I'm at the end of my videos. I appreciate everybody who's been in here with me and tuned in on the replay. Hope you like this. Share it out. Leave your comments. I'll try to reply to everything, send some newsletters out. Also, if you are a fan of the show, please, you can either watch us on YouTube or you can listen to us at thetextualtalk.com/episodes and check us all out. We're available on all digital streaming platforms. And so if you want to listen to us on your drive to work or at work, because you can't really be on YouTube, that's your solution. But until next time, we out. Peace.